First bat. You wonder what I'm doing? I'm doing a bat count. Bat counts are fun for the whole family. You can go out in nature and you can become a citizen scientist. So today we're going to learn all about bat counts. So what do you need to do a bat count? Not very much. You need a comfortable chair, you need a counter or a clicker, and you need someplace near your house where bats are roosting. So up above me here, we have a bat box. And if there's a bat box with a colony living inside near your house, you can go and count the bats that come out of the box every night to eat. Now, bats hibernate over the winter, and in the spring, right about this time of the year, they're having their pups. And they start flying out of their roosts every night to feed on the insects. Every bat in British Columbia is an insectivore. They eat insects. Now, by doing a bat count, you are helping the BC scientists. So that kind of makes you a bat superhero. So let's talk a little bit more about where to do a bat count. So if you know about a bat colony that's roosting somewhere near your house, you can go do a bat count there. If you're searching for bats, places to look would be abandoned buildings, even though sometimes bats do live in buildings where there's still people in activity. Church steeples, barns, they like big old trees, ones that are either dead or dying, or rocky cliffs. Now here in the Okanagan, we have a famous bat colony, and that bat colony lives in the attic of the Tourist Information Center in Peachland. So come on and have a look at this beautiful heritage building. It used to be a schoolhouse, and now it's their information center. And they have over 2,000 Yuma and little brown Myotis bats living in the attic. Now, it's easy to start a bat count. I'm going to give you my 10 quick steps to do your own bat count. Here we go. Step number 1. Arrive at the roost before sunset. Step number 2. Fill out this data sheet from BC Bats. It's easy. Just record the location, temperature, and a few other basics. Now here's the sheet. You can download it from bcbats.ca. Number 3. Get some snacks ready. An important part of going for a bat count. Number 4. Sit or stand where you can see the bat's exit point. So wherever the bats are living, there's going to be a doorway where they come in and out, and you need to be able to see that clearly. Number 5, have a clicker in your hand, ready to count. Number 6, get ready to yell, "First bat," when you see the first one. The first person to do this wins a prize, which is predetermined by you. Number 7, use the clicker to count how many bats you see coming out of the roost. Number 8, record your findings and send it to bcbats@gmail.com. Number 9, congratulate yourself on becoming a citizen scientist and helping out the BC Bats. And finally, step number 10, please remember, get permission if the bats are on private property, never go into a roost, and never touch a wild animal. So that's it, 10 easy steps to do your very own bat count. So here we have a little brown Myotis. These are one of the 2 species that live in the visitor center in Peachland, that live up in their attic. And all the bats in British Columbia are insectivores, and it has sharp insectivore teeth designed to crunch through the exoskeleton of the insects. Here we have pictures of families having fun together doing their bat counts in Peachland. So now you know how to do a bat count. Are you asking yourself, why would we do a bat count? Well, bats are in trouble. They're losing a lot of their natural habitat to agriculture and development. And bats need our help. By doing a bat count, you are helping BC scientists track bat populations. Look at the pallid bat. It's a face that only a mother could love. The pallid bat is red listed in BC, and that means that it's threatened. It's threatened because of habitat loss from agriculture and development. Another major threat to bats in North America is something called Whitenose syndrome. Now, Whitenose syndrome is a fungus that is growing mostly on the face of bats while they're hibernating. And what happens is the bats will wake up in the winter to clean the fungus off of themselves. So even though there is a myth that bats are dirty, they're actually very, very clean. And every time they wake up in the winter to clean themselves of that fungus, they're reducing some of the fat that their bodies have stored for the winter time. They then starve before the insects come back out in the spring. So Whitenose syndrome is of huge concern. Now, in the eastern part of North America, there are some bat colonies that have lost 90 to 100% of their bats. And through bat counts, we know that Whitenose syndrome is moving across the continent west. And we don't have any cases of Whitenose syndrome here in British Columbia, but there have been a few documented cases down in Washington, our neighbors to the south. By doing bat counts, you're helping scientists track Whitenose syndrome. There are many myths about bats, things that are not true. So let's dispel a couple of those myths right now. Myth number 1, bats are dirty. Well, the reality is, bats regularly groom themselves when they're not hunting or sleeping to keep their fur clean and free of parasites. Bats are not dirty animals. Here's another common myth that we hear. Bats are pests. What's the reality? The total opposite. Bats are valuable mammals. They help control insect pests. And in some parts of the world, they're important pollinators and they disperse seeds. A myth that we're hearing a lot about right now is the link between bats and COVID-19. Now, I am not a health expert, and the museum here, we are not health experts, but we have been reading some very reliable sources and talking to some of the bat and health experts that are out there. And this is what we have learned. There are no bats in North America that carry COVID-19. Bats are not a threat to us. Now, the idea of killing bats is only going to hurt the bats. It's not going to stop the spread of COVID-19. COVID is being spread from human to human. So by killing bats or destroying their habitats, all we are doing is hurting the bat population, which in turn hurts our ecosystems. Bats are an important balance to our ecosystems. It also hurts our economy. Bats an economy? Well, bats are free insect control. And if it wasn't for the bats, the farmers and the orchardists would be spending billions of dollars on pest control. So we have every reason to care for the bats, and we have no reason to fear the bats. So go out, get yourself a clicker, get yourself a data sheet from bcbats.ca, and go for a bat count. Become a bat superhero. Happy counting.